Hey, I'm Gareth from Pile Cameras, and today we're going to be taking an in-depth look at the Sony A7R III. Now, spoiler warning, I love this camera. The Sony A7R III has been out for a little while now, and I've been using it for a few projects that we've been filming, and much like its newer sibling, the A7 III, it's one of my favourite cameras to shoot on at the moment. Photography, video, I just love using this camera. Now, it's got a 42.4 megapixel sensor, which is incredible. It gives you these really detailed images. If you use something like this, the G Master 24-70 lens, those images are going to look so good. They're crisp, they're detailed, and it just gives you so many options for what you want to do in post. It means that you can crop in without really losing detail. And it just means you can reframe things, you can recompose things when you get home. Now, generally, unless you're going to be printing massively on like a billboard or something like that, you're probably not going to be using that resolution in general day-to-day use. But like I say, it does give you those huge options. It shoots 10 frames a second, which is incredible when you consider the megapixel count. The sensor is back illuminated, which means it performs really well in low light, and you can just crank up that ISO and it just keeps going. Now, you'd be forgiven for thinking that with that high megapixel count comes a bit of a price to pay with low light performance, but no, this camera will just take it, it'll just keep going. Much like the A7 III, it'll just perform really well above and beyond what you'd expect in lower light situations. It has 425 autofocus points, it's really fast, it's really accurate, and it has things you've come to expect from Sony cameras, things like eye autofocus, which honestly, if you've not tried it, is so good. To have that be able to just snap on someone's eye and be perfectly in focus is invaluable. And again, for anyone who's doing event or wedding photography, that is an invaluable resource to have. It is incredible to watch it happen, and it just really helps you out. It's got in-body 5-axis image stabilisation, and it works really, really well. It's one of my favourite stabilisation methods in any camera. You don't get that kind of jelly effect. It just works really, really well. It's super smooth, both for photography and video, but especially if you're shooting video handheld, it looks so good. And when you hit the movie button and it kicks in, it just looks so nice. It's such a smooth shot, and when you get home, you won't be disappointed at all. Speaking of video, this and the A7 III are two of my favorite cameras to shoot video on. The colors look great, the stabilization is great, and it just comes out looking amazing. It can shoot 4K at up to 30 frames a second, and it can shoot full HD at up to 120 frames a second. So you get that super nice slow motion that you can play around with in post. Always looks so great, looks so cinematic. Oh, I love shooting on this camera. Using the 4K at 30 frames a second on the Super 35 mode, which is essentially like an APS-C sensor, it essentially means you're getting 5K footage downsampled to 4K, so it looks really good. It also shoots in S-Log, which is a great tool for filmmakers and videographers to have. If you're not familiar with log footage, it's basically a very, very flat picture profile with no baked-in contrast or saturation, which gives you the most room to play around in post for the final look of your footage. So you've got more detail in the shadows, more detail in the highlights. To look at it, it actually doesn't look very nice, but that's because it just allows you so much room to shape the final outcome. If you want to have a contrasty look, if you want to have an oversaturated look or desaturated look, or if you want to play around with the colors, it's much easier to do it with log footage. So that's a great tool to have. The camera itself is small and lightweight, but still feels like a pro camera. So you've got this lovely grip on the side, and it's actually small and lightweight enough to just be a pick up and go camera. But with pro features inside, which is amazing. There's also a huge number of lenses available. There's Sony G Master lenses, which are great, they're so nice. This is the 24 to 72.8, which is a lovely lens to shoot on. There's also Zeiss lenses, which are amazing, Samyang. There's loads of lenses to look at for these Sony cameras. Overall, this is an amazing camera for photographers and videographers. So if you're a photographer, you've got that high megapixel count, fast continuous shooting, great dynamic range. If you're a videographer, you've got high frame rate shooting in full HD, you've got 4K footage, you've got S-Log, you've got in-body stabilisation. Oh, just so many things packed into what is quite a small and really amazing camera. Now, if you have any questions about the camera at all, pop them down in the comments below. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. If you like the video, hit the like button, make sure to subscribe for more content. I'll see you in the next video. And as always, thanks for watching.